and they're all thinking the same thing. If this man transforms here and now, it's over for Kafka in every capacity, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I have for you Kaiju No.8 chapter 29. Alright, so what's going on? Well, so we get this flashback from Hoshina as he's training with what looks to be like a father or a sensei type of person, and basically trying to set Hoshina straight and tell him to abandon his goals of joining the defense force. We get some backstory of him and his training in the ways of the sword, which has long since been abandoned, and it's said to him that if he had been born in the Edo era, then he would have been a prodigy, which kind of brings relevance to how long, kaiju have been around in the defense force organizations. If he's being told that if he was born in the Edo period, then he would be a natural. Maybe that's just to the ways of the sword, but it's clear that the defense force base has a history of using swords before they've upgraded to like pistols and cannons and sniper rifles and stuff like that. So the flashback continues later in the chapter, and we get all these moments of people doubting the vice captain and him really having to strive for the sword style technique of slaying kaiju versus the marksman style of kaiju slaying. We see two more defense force members saying, well, what we think to be defense force members, right? This is just a flashback. They could just be like family or something. But we see two more people saying the exact same thing to Hoshina. And in the recent years, they mentioned that giant kaiju are more of the common occurrence, and that he should really think about putting down the swords and just picking up teaching. Apparently, everybody knows that Hoshina is trash at using rifles, and using, the marksman style of kaiju slaying. Everybody knows that he's trash, so they're not even telling him at this point, put the swords down and pick up a gun. They're saying, yo, just stop and just teach, because we recognize your skill and what you have to offer, but you just don't have anything to offer on the battlefield if you can't use a rifle. And this is the mentality that has been going around and what he has been hearing during his entire time as a low-ranking officer member. So I can see in the beginning chapters when he was looking at Kafka, it might not have just been because, oh, you're trash and I don't trust you and I want to keep an eye on you. He could have honestly did that and never have let him join his platoon personally. You could just say, yo, keep an eye on him wherever he goes, and just have someone secretly following him around, and could have dealt with it that way. You probably would get a lot more answers and results, because if he doesn't know anybody's watching him, then he's just going to transform off rip that we've seen him do in the past. He's not like Batman. He doesn't go into an alley and like look for cover, or Superman and go into like a phone booth and transform. The nigga just transforms anywhere he is when he sees some shit's about to go down. So if the vice captain really wanted to, see and figure out what Kafka was, and if he had suspected him this much, then he would have taken that route versus just bringing him in the platoon. I can see both sides of his mentality, because if he is as dangerous as you predict he is, you don't need him just roaming around doing whatever he has to do. I think that he saw a little bit of his past in Kafka being around everybody saying that he just needs to give up and just stop, because of everything that we now are seeing from the vice captain's past. So as all this is going on, I just had to stop, and I was like, don't disrespect our boy like that. But at the same time, and I want to make this point, I don't think that the vice captain was as bad as Kafka. Like, I think that he wasn't averaging 0, because I think I remember this correctly. Nobody had ever averaged 0 before. The vice captain was like somebody, even no matter how bad they are, should at least be able to draw 1%. Okay, so maybe the vice captain was at 1%, as a marksman kaiju slayer. Maybe he was at 1%, but when he picked up them swords, he was a different beast. But we're going to continue with the flashback. He never gave up, but one day he gets called into Mina's office, okay? And he wasn't the vice captain just yet, and maybe just a very decorated officer, but a young Mina is present as the new captain of the defense force, and she calls Hoshina in and is like, I heard you're a blade specialist. And Hoshina was like, yeah, and he's expecting the same bullshit that he's heard in his entire life. But surprisingly, no. She's intrigued and asks for Hoshina's skill for now and in the future, because she believed that there would come a point in time when miniature kaiju would become a huge problem, and wanted him by her side for when that happened. And she does this by asking him in a very powerful way, I just need you to cut a path for her. Right, that's the whole thing. Hoshina, you're a blade specialist. I need you to cut a path for me so I can get the final shot off. That's what I'm picking up from this, and that's badass. So moving forward with the chapter, we flash back to reality, and the vice captain is kind of bloody, but seems perfectly fine due to his defense force suit's shield function was cranked to the max. But with his max release exhausted, there doesn't seem to be much more that he can do regarding number 10, and he's just slashing wildly at the kaiju. Well, not really wildly. He is doing his sword technique skills, but it's not effective at all, and just as you would think, things got worse. Okay, he gets snatched up, and I'm just sure at this point that he's going to get crushed, right? Either he is going to get crushed, or we're about to really find out the limits of the Defense Force suit's shield functions, because I don't see him getting out of this at all. But that's not what we get. What we get is what most likely we all thought was going to happen, in that which Kafka springs forward and is rushing Kaiju number 10. And this is clearly a problem because he's in the middle of the street. Remember what I said? He doesn't look for a place to transform. He just transforms when it's time to transform. He's rushing Kaiju number 10, and just as he's gearing up to transform, you have Ichikawa and Shinomama watching this about to happen, and they're all thinking the same thing. If this man transforms here and now, it's over for Kafka in every capacity, okay? Not just in the Defense Force as a member, but they're most likely going to assume that number 10 and number 8 are working together, and that Kafka was placed at the Defense Force base specifically for this moment in order to, you know, start the raid, right? They're going to think that he waved Kaiju number 10 and all the wavering Kaiju into the Defense Force base. That is the worst case scenario at this point, and it was this close to happening, and this will be, in my opinion, a major wake-up call to all the young Defense Force members when this is all said and done. Alright, it's not said and done, or at least not just yet, but the tides have finally turned, because the cannon toting beast has just shown up as the Captain blows number 10's entire shoulder from its body, and it's just gone. It's gone. She is reloading for a second shot at a maximum release of 96%. We don't know how much of a release she just put down during the first half, but with this one, she's ready to blow this motherfucker away, okay? And I'm here for it, because it needs to happen. I want Defense Force 3 to be locked down. I want it to be shut down. I want everything to go as it's supposed to go, and we're gonna see in the next chapter. But I'm not gonna drag this video out any longer than what it needs to be. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. If you are new, go plus Ultra and smash that subscribe button. It lets me know you rock with the content that I put out on this channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about what you think is really gonna happen. Much like with what happened with Kaiju number 9, I really just see Kaiju number 10 retreating. I see him going back, getting back. Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe Kaiju number 10 will be the first to fall, and we'll see that Kaiju number 10 was just a pawn, just like Kaiju number 9, and we'll probably be reintroduced to probably the main bad guy, the main villain, the main antagonist, however you want to look at him, in the upcoming, you know, chapters. Or we're gonna get introduced to Kaiju number 11, who is even more of a badass than number 9 and number 10, if Kaiju number 10 is to fall here and now. But let me know in the comments what you think is gonna happen. Yeah, that's all I got for you. And like always, until next time, I'm out.
Destroyed your trophy
Hostile
system.
spy plane established overhead.
Mission timeline expired. Counter spy plane exiting AOR.
Man.
Hostile spy plane established overhead. We lost Bravo. Securing B. Taking B.
Which has sparked conversations about anti-blackness among Asian Americans. Tensions between these marginalized communities date back decades.
Taking Bravo. Hostile spy plane established overhead.
Oh, there's two.
Bravo lockdown.
Spy plane standing by.
spy plane available for tasking.
Losing
Spy
Alpha.
plane established overhead. Spy plane
Taking
commencing
C.
surveillance operation.
Entry turret
We
available.
lost A. Charlie
Spy
secure.
plane fuel reserves at 50%.
Taking A.
Spy plane mission timeline.
Losing B.
suspended. Counter spy plane terminating music. Thanks for the work. Terminating overflight.
Hostile sentry turret active. Victory's close. Wrap it up and let's go home. Losing B. Every win
Oh,
pushes
what
back the Iron
happened?
Curtain.
There.
Textbook.